Hello, everyone. Welcome into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined by my co-host, Gage Bertovich, once again. And today, we have finally made it to the 8th division of our breakdowns in the NFL. Not the number 8th division as in rankings. That'd be number 1, in my opinion, and in Gage's opinion, too. Bet if you ask him, that's what he'd tell you.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
AFC. The AFC North, Gage. How we doing, man?
Doing good. Weather's changing, so a little bit of a cough going, but outside of that, baseball's done, basically.
Baseball's done. Baseball's done.
So, we are just a week away. Less than that at the time of recording this. I mean, next Thursday, first game, and then Sunday, everything kicks off. I am so excited.
Me too. Cannot wait for it to get here. We're going to go over the AFC North. Before we get to that, a few little things here. Baseball's definitely over. No need to even touch on it. Wednesday night, it completely ended. Nothing else is going on. I know there's other games going on, but it's over. It's over with. They got us to for my team, they got me to football season. Thank you for that. We'll get off here and we'll start football. This past week, also in Bengals land, they made a little news. Finally, they signed Trey Hendrickson. Actually, they don't sign Trey Hendrickson. They just give him a raise, $30 million for 1 year. Gabe, what'd you think about what do you think about that news there with Trey Hendrickson?
Talk about confusion. Why would you not want to? And now, after the news that came later that week with the Cowboys and Packers, Trey Hendrickson's going to want a little bit more money, and the Bengals are not going to be able to afford it. They already got, 75% of their cap going to 3 players on offense?
Yeah, it's a 1 year deal, and he's done after this year. I texted you, and I said, well, they'll probably tag him for a second year. They ain't tagging him now at that price. That's not happening. That has went out the window after what happened yesterday, which I did a podcast with my new co-host on the college football end, Gordon, and Gordon's a Packers fan. And he texted me the other day and he said there's rumors that Micah Parsons is going to the Packers. And I'm like, Jerry's getting this done before the season's over with. He's going to sign him back. It's what he loves to do. He loves the drama. And yesterday it comes out that the Packers trade Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks for Micah Parsons. And I'm like, well, I missed that one.
Yeah, and then the Packers give him a 4-year, I believe, $188 million extension. This guy just reset the entire market for linebackers. I am so glad as a Steelers fan that TJ Watt signed his extension when he did. Otherwise, there is no way we'd be able to afford it.
This is why the Bengals should have given Trey an extension back in the offseason, and you would have had him for 3 more years. And like I said earlier in the year, you give him 3 years. At the end of those 3 years, you shake his hand, thank him for his time here, and go on about yourself and start over. But now he's going to go get a big deal somewhere else, and that'll be the end of Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. But $47 million a year for Micah Parsons. Wow. I didn't see that coming at all. Is it the Micah Parsons part where I didn't see it coming?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't see Micah Parsons signing that deal, getting that big of a deal at all.
No, neither did I especially non-quarterbacks you never see sign above, 40 some odd million. And for him to almost get 50, wow. I mean, the cap, poor Packers, right? Like, they kind of tied themselves up. On one hand, I can understand the Cowboys not wanting to shell out that money. I mean, you just extended Dak. You got CD's contract. You got the Pickens contract whenever that's coming up, if you extend them, whatever you do there. And then you got everybody else, especially on the defensive side, that we can't afford this guy. So send them off, help your run game out, and the defensive side, get 2 first-round picks that first-round picks, are hit or miss, just like every other pick. But maybe you flip them and get another player, defense, offense, special teams, whatever. Maybe in the future, maybe in the end, this all works out for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. But for some reason, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, if they would have done this deal before the draft, they would have got a whole haul for Micah Parsons. But you do it right before the season comes up like this, and you only get 2 first-round picks out of it. You could have got a little bit more, I think. And Kenny Clark, decent defensive tackle, I guess. But I don't know. I think that the Packers, they got a pretty good deal out of this. But like you said, they're paying for it, though, for sure. I mean, they didn't. It's not at a, it's not a cheap price that they're paying for Micah Parsons. 2 first-round picks and that salary. And the picks, you never know how they're going to turn out. if the Packers make the playoffs, they're going to be picking in the 20s somewhere for those 2 first-round picks. What a deal. A blockbuster deal a week before the season starts. I mean, the Cowboys are playing next Thursday, and they make this deal the Thursday before. It's crazy to me, man. The Cowboys, Jerry Jones always finds a way to make headlines somehow or some way in this league.
Yeah, and usually it's not in a good way, and that trend will continue.
Yeah, for the last 30 years, it's not been in a good way. And the best thing about the Cowboys right now may be that documentary they got on Netflix. I don't know.
I have not seen the documentary yet, but I want to watch it. But I've heard some interesting things about it. We'll just leave it there. No spoilers or anything. But yeah, I just can't believe it. I was at work when the trade hit, and ESPN sent me like 4 notifications, which again, hate you, ESPN, but thank you. And I was out loud went, "Oh my god." I feel like I had people staring at me from all angles, whether it be coworkers or customers, and I'm like, "Sorry guys, y'all don't understand. A big trade just happened in the NFL. Not with Pittsburgh, but it still happened. So it's here, it's done. Unfortunately, we both have to play the Packers this year."
We do. And the Packers play the Cowboys in week 4, so that's going to be interesting to see. And it's funny because they were talking, if you think of it, Dallas, the city of Dallas, had a superstar in basketball in Luka Doncic at 26 years old get traded, like their superstar, traded away. And now their 26-year-old superstar in football, Micah Parsons, gets traded away. It must suck to be a Dallas sports fan right now, is all I can say.
It's just like the trend that I was talking about last week with the Packers. Brett Favre, 27 Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, 27 Super Bowl. Gordon Love, he's 27. Does he get a Super Bowl? And is it because of Micah Parsons? Does Parsons win Defensive Player of the Year?
Laughed when you mentioned that last week, like, that's not happening this year. And then they go out and make this trade, and I'm like, it might happen. I don't know. We'll see. It looks a little bit more likely than it did last week. I'm telling you.
You never know. Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. And now, Gage, this past week, we're getting closer to NFL season. People starting to do some fantasy drafts. I drafted this past week. Gage, you also drafted this past week. Could you let me know who you have drafted so I can compare just to make sure that I don't have the same players you got? Because we know you pick all the players that end up doing something, getting hurt, or, breaking a toenail or something in the locker room to where they can't play that week. You've got to let me know, man, because you're cursed in this fantasy football since we've been doing these pick'ems. You just haven't had the best luck, so I just need to know. So I need to know if I need to go ahead and get rid of some guys or what, or stay away from whoever's in the free agency pool. How'd your fantasy draft go, man?
So if you're new to the show and you have no idea what Brent's talking about, it felt like every week we did a pick'em last year, I was like, oh yeah, but I have this guy and he's hurt. Got his replacement. Next week, he's hurt too. Sorry, Jordan Mason and whoever other running backs the Niners had last year. So this year, I feel like I drafted well. Okay. With that being said, I'm just gonna go right down the order here that has listed in ESPN. ESPN, hate you. Start quarterback. We got Lamar Jackson. Now, do you have Lamar too?
Quarterback, yes.
But there is a good thing. He's in the division, so if he does get hurt, it helps both of us out, at least in that sense.
Absolutely.
Running back, I feel, is my weak link. I went to the Patriots and got Travion Henderson, and went to the Vikings and got Aaron Jones Sr. Now, if Aaron Jones has a season similar to what he had last year, that'll be fine. Henderson, don't really know if he's even going to be the number 1. So I'm really hoping so. Did that match up with any of yours?
No, I had Bijan and RJ Harvey, rookie. So I don't even know if he's starting in Denver, but I've got him. I like RJ Harvey. So
he might be like the number 6 running back listed and still be the starter.
Yeah, could be. But I got Bijan, so I feel good about Bijan.
I hate this cough. Oh my gosh. Going to receivers, we got top receiver core, CeeDee Lamb and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Shout out to Auto Draft because I was not on in time and they got me those in the first 2 picks.
My receivers are kind of my weak spot here, I think. I got Devonta Smith, Ladd McConkey, and DJ Moore.
Well, just wait a second, because in my flex, I have DJ Moore.
It's also my flex.
Tight end, I have the same guy that I had last year, And I'm really hoping that he actually scores a receiving touchdown before he scores a rushing or a fumble recovery touchdown. Trey McBride out of Arizona, great tight end. I feel like he chance to be the number one tight end in the league, but he'll probably end top 3, top 5. The defense, I have the Houston Texans because I feel like they have a really good defense and with some star players.
Tell me about that Houston defense. Who's on that defense? Is CJ GJ on there?
He's not.
It was, right?
He was, and then he got hurt. Maybe ready for week 1. I don't know. It feels like that maybe if they make the playoffs, it'll be week 1. But, don't really know.
You got Lassiter back there.
Yeah.
You got Stingley.
Yeah. They open up at the Rams, and I'm projected 5.8 points out of them. Thanks a lot, guys.
Petrie. You got Petrie back there.
Yeah.
All the stars.
At the kicking spot, someone on a team who has an offense that's very good, so I'm kind of worried he'll get more extra points than anything. But Chase McLaughlin down in Tampa Bay.
It's my kicker.
Man, our teams are screwed.
Yeah, let's see. I need to go ahead and drop some guys.
And then moving to the bench, I have Zach Charbonnet, because you can never count on Kenneth Walker to have a fully healthy season, and Charbonnet is going to play probably at least 2 or 3 games as the starter. In the next bench position, I took him with my last pick because we didn't really know about Joe Mixon's status for the Texans. I got Nick Chubb with my last pick. Is it him? There's another running back, too, that might take over, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But either one of them is going to be running back 1. I'm willing to bet it's Chubb, at least for the first game or 2. And my backup quarterback, going to the division that we talked about last week, I got Jordan Love.
I got Jared Goff.
Wow, that was in. Our teams are way too similar in certain cases.
Yeah.
My last 3 bench players are all receivers. The guy that once traded out of Vegas, Jacoby Myers. My guy that got hurt last year, but I always draft him, Rashid Shaheed. And the rookie wide receiver out of Carolina, whose first name can't pronounce, but McMillan.
Sarah something McMillan.
That.
From Arizona. I know that. He played at Arizona.
I can tell you a lot about him. I just can't tell you how to pronounce that first name.
And for mine, we're pretty close. I got Ray Davis, Najee Harris, Emeka Ibuka, Loveland, the tight end from the Bears, and Jake Elliott as my kicker, as my backup kicker. I got 2 kickers. So, yeah, we're kind of similar here.
I think you remembered when I talked about the Bears on this podcast and said that Loveland is going to be the breakout player.
It might have. Also, you did have a breakout player for the Washington football team a couple of weeks ago, and it was Brian Robinson Jr., who also is no longer a part of that team after getting traded. So, hey,
I'm really
they signed Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, but I'm really starting to think that people should just not listen to me because bad luck for these people.
It is what it is. But, hey, so he said, if you haven't watched this show before and you're a new one, thank you first for coming on and subscribing and watching. But we do have a weekly segment. We may throw in a little jingle here coming up soon. It's going to be who got injured on Gage's fantasy team this past week, because there was always a segment, always a player getting injured. So we might as well make something out of it, which we did last year. So, hey, why not, right? We'll bring it back.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like we started that week 6, week 7 last year.
I feel like week 2.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just go from, week 1, because we can already start. They're not fully injured, but I have 2 people listed as questionable.
Joe Mixon.
No, remember, I don't have Joe Mixon. I got Nick
that's
Chubb.
Right. You got Nick Chubb. Yeah, that's right.
But we got Lamar Jackson, who is questionable. I think he's going to play, though. It's at Buffalo. They cannot rock with whoever the backup quarterback is.
We'll get to that.
And then McMillan is also questionable. That was this week's segment of Who's Hurt on Gage's fantasy team.
Tune in next week when we do our pick'ems, and we'll see who actually is gone from Gage's fantasy team before we even get to week 1.
It's going to be like half the roster.
And then it'll be half of mine, too. So probably be all the players that me and him have in common. So we'll see.
You are not winning your league this year. I can promise you that.
No, there goes my 2-year streak. It's out. I'm done. It's over with. It's a good ride. I'll be like the Kansas City Chiefs. You can win 2, but you ain't winning 3 in a row.
Nope, you'll get destroyed when it counts the most.
Hey, did anything else happen with them 2? the Chiefs, did they make any news this week or anything like that?
I feel like they did, but I also feel like the news went by just at a fast rate of speed, so I'm not really too sure. Do you know?
I don't know, man. I was trying to stay engaged with things, but I don't know. I kind of lost track of things too. So I don't know. I don't know if they had anything going on or not.
No, man, man, this is all just crashing and burning. God,
Yeah. I feel like, the I don't know. It's like the newlywed game or something around here or something. I don't know, man. It's all weird, the news cycle around here. I don't know.
man, it's very funny too that Rashi Rice suspended 6 games. That's the
That's
news.
it. That's what it was.
Yeah,
I had my fingertips all over it and everything, and I just couldn't shake it off. So,
and never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that that would have happened.
well, just focus. So that's all with the news and notes of the week. Gage, let's get into the AFC North preview, and I will let you once again tell me where you want to start this week. What team do you want to go with?
I think let's just start in Baltimore. Why not? Let's start with probably our most hated team in the division,
Yeah,
just because
definitely.
they're good. The other
Yes.
one just sucks.
Yes.
So the Baltimore Ravens finished last season winning the division, going 12-5. Offense and defense both top 10 in stats. Points scored per game 30.5, ranked third, and in points allowed per game 21.9. Their bet MGM win total set at 11.5 for this season, so right out where they were last year. And then my key question is just, can this team limit their unnecessary mistakes? It's very tempting to throw the blame on Lamar Jackson, who goes from Josh Allen in the regular season to Tyler Huntley in the playoffs. But Lamar Jackson, often he puts the team in a position to win. Week 1, Isaiah Likely not getting his toe in bounds costed them the game. Last season, they ended in Buffalo because Mark Andrews dropped a game-tying 2-point conversion. They always seem to be that close. Now, they did add a couple people, notably safety Malachi Starks, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, Jair Alexander in the corner, brand new kicker, rookie Tyler Loop, and then a couple other guys mentioned the backup earlier, Cooper Rush. Welcome to Baltimore, the great value Red Rocket. So, going to move to position to watch. I'm going to go to the tight end position. Mark Andrews turns 30 in September, and he has a very talented backup, Isaiah Likely, turns 25 this past April. They're both in the final years of their contracts. What happens? Do you extend them both? You can't let both of them walk, so you got to sign at least one. I would imagine it's going to be Isaiah Likely, which is why he's listed as my breakout player. Baltimore's top receiving threat last year in the postseason Likely led the team 7 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown across the 2 playoff games. I'm thinking he's poised to build off of that, so I think you see Isaiah Likely as a starter next year, and Mark Andrews probably with a different team, probably the Washington Commanders, since they like to bring in old tight ends. So are they better than what they were in 2024? Unfortunately, I'm going to say yes. They avoided another offensive line overhaul. They extended left tackle Ronnie Stanley, kept key pieces, and all in all had one of the league's best drafts when you look at it as a whole. They stocked talent across the defense and fortified the offensive line. All they have to do is stop beating themselves up in the playoffs. So 11.5 wins was the win total. I'm going to take the over, and unfortunately, I do think Baltimore wins the division.
So the Ravens on offense last year ranked first in the NFL in total yards per game, with a dominant first place in rushing offense, 7th in passing, 3rd in points per game. They also made NFL history by becoming the first ever team with both 4,000 passing yards and 3,000 rushing yards in the single season, finishing with 7,378 total yards. Lamar Jackson at quarterback set career high in passing yards with 4,172 completions and touchdowns while maintaining just 4 interceptions last season. He also rushed for 915 yards, continuing to rewrite the quarterback rushing records. His unique blend of passing and rushing makes defenses pay, unfortunately, and is considered a top-tier quarterback entering the season. Some places have him as number 1 quarterback in the NFL. I think that he is a choke artist myself. No offense, but, he always chokes when he gets to the playoffs. Him and Josh Allen are probably the 2 biggest chokers in the league. Sorry. The Russian attack. Derrick Henry joined Baltimore in 2024 on a 2-year deal and delivered a monster season. Over 1,900 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns, multiple-time AFC Player of the Week, and a franchise rushing record of 186 yards in a playoff game. He signed a 2-year extension in May, so hey, 2 more years of him. Offensive line continuity is a huge plus for them. They return 11 of the 12 players that had at least 400 snaps in 2025. In 2024, they returned for 2025. On the pass catching side, you have Zay Flowers, Rod Bateman, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and newly signed to a 1-year deal, DeAndre Hopkins, who's a vet, but he's getting a little old. And they also drafted Tez Walker out of North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Rashad Bateman had a breakout season last year, and he signed a 3-year, $36 million extension for this. As you mentioned, Likely and Andrews could be free agents after this season. Who do they sign? Probably Likely. Most likely is who I would say. And then you got backup Cooper Rush, who they signed. That's a big, huge signing for them. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the Raiders have some returning guys here too. They have they were one of the best defenses last year. They had 54 sacks last season, which was second in the NFL. Not bad. But from week 9 to season's end, the defense posted first in scoring defense with 16.9 points per game, second in total defense with 291 yards a game. They started out mediocre and turned out to be elite. Otega Oweh's brother, Dafe Owe, Otega Owe is a Kentucky basketball player. His brother chipped in 10 sacks last season. And then Michael Pierce, who was expected to play right before the season started, kind of giving him a little, hey, sorry, but I'm out. Then you got Kyle Van Noy coming back as a linebacker. He had 12.5 sacks last year, but he's kind of hurt right now, I think. So we'll see if he plays. Then in the back end, you got Marlon Humphrey, who's a first-team All-Pro last year with 6 picks, 15 pass deflections, and just an all-around good year. And then they added Jair Alexander, who is hurt, and is often hurt. And then they signed Kyle Hamilton for a 4-year, $100 million extension. Bengals. This is where you could learn from the Ravens. Sign these guys early, and you don't have to pay them that much. 4 years, $100 million for Kyle Hamilton is a great deal for the Ravens. So their over-under was
11.5.
11.5. I'm with you on this. I think that they go over. I think they probably win 12 to 13 games this year. Baltimore is pretty much a juggernaut in the regular season. There's no way around it, no doubt about it. I think Baltimore gets the over on this, and I think Baltimore ultimately, unfortunately, wins the AFC North once again and does what they do best when they get in the playoffs, and that is choke.
All right. I like the way you think. Keep them winning, but I love them choking.
Yes. If only they could start sucking in the regular season, but they just got everybody back just about. I mean, they didn't lose a whole lot at all. They've added some pieces, and Lamar's good. Lamar's really good in the regular season. So, and you can't really blame the playoff loss on him. Mark Andrews catches that pass, that 2-point conversion. We're talking something totally different here. We could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still like to pin on Lamar.
But yeah, it's awesome to just blame him.
Oh, so there's one team down, 3 left to go. Gage, where do you want to go next?
I say let's just go in order by win line total. Let's go to Cincinnati and talk about the Bengals. Before I start, Jermaine Burton's still with the team, right?
Yeah, he's still with the team. Yeah.
Good.
So is Mitchell Tinsley.
Yeah, well, I wrote this before I knew about Mitchell Tinsley, so...
Yeah, he's still there.
Okay, good. Otherwise, I'm going to sound like a real idiot. All right.
Hey, I said the Bears swept the Packers last year when I meant to say the Packers swept the Bears, so, I mean, it happens.
So the Cincinnati Bengals, their win line set at 9.5, and this is after finishing 9-8 with a very perfect Pittsburgh record and finishing 3rd in the division last year. The offense, not too shabby, 27.8 points per game, which ranks 6th in the league. However, the defense was where it kind of all fell apart. 25.5 points allowed per game, which was tied for 25th in the division or in the league. Now, how do they, do that? Well, they get rid of defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo and bring in Al Golden. That might be a very good way of, turning it around a little bit. My key question, can their defense stop anybody? Don't really know. Like I mentioned, longtime coordinator Lou Anarumo, he was the scapegoat after the team lost 6 games in which they scored at least 25 points, tied for the most such losses by any team since 2000. The Bengals turned to new defense coordinator Al Golden, helped build Notre Dame's defense into one of college football's best, and they focused the first draft on defense, especially the first round pick, who seems like a very toxic guy, but at least you guys were able to sign him. Speaking of defense, position to watch, let's make it very vague. Let's just go to the pass rush. They just signed the best defensive player on the Cincinnati team, Trey Hendrickson. It's going to be his last year in Cincinnati, so they better get all they can out of him. And then you get Shamar Stewart as well, who still don't know. I think we both agreed on this. Don't know how he was a first round pick because his college production wasn't there. It had to be just, we need a pass rusher and let's throw a dart at the board and see who it lands on. Breakout player. This is where things get a little hasty because you trash talked this guy last year for things that he did. Let's go to wide receiver Jermaine Burton. He was all around a first round talent coming out of the draft, ended up falling to the third round in 2024 due to character concerns that we saw happen with his season last year. He missed meetings, missed practices, missed a road trip, and finished the season, however, 4 catches, 107 yards total. That's it. Not one game, just total. But that's still a pretty good average. I'll take that average anytime. You could say he's on thin ice, but I think, maybe he matured a little bit. An ideal wide receiver 3 in this pass first offense. Maybe he has like a Rashid Shaheed type role. Maybe it's like a Deshaun Jackson type role where it's just go deep and let's see how far Joe Burrow can throw this thing. Get behind the defense and we're good to go. Just, show up the stuff, man, because that's a little weird of you to do. So are they better than what they were in 2024? It depends on their start. Yeah, we saw it last year. They started 1-4, started 1-3 in 2023, started 1-2 in 2022. Last year, the game that they lost in week 1, I don't think they should have lost, but they lost to the Patriots. Who do they open up with this year?
The Browns.
Oh, man, if the Browns are 1-0 after week 1, thanks to Joe Flacco, and you might not be the happiest of people in the world.
Well, I definitely won't.
So I said their win total set at 9.5. I'm going to take the over. I think the defense is a little bit better. The offense stays top notch. It's going to be very questionable whether it's second or third because I think the next team's also going to be right up there, and it might come down to a tiebreak.
So last year, the Bengals 9-8 missed the playoffs. Of course, they get off to a slow start like they do every year under Zach Taylor. And this year, they decided to play a few starters in the preseason to kind of get that out of the way. That way, once so they don't get off to a slow start. Start out with the Browns. You've got to beat the Browns. You have to beat the Browns. You've got to beat the Browns. You have to beat the Browns. Week 1, got to. So they fire Lou Anarumo. They bring in Al Golden, defensive coordinator from Notre Dame. So in the preseason, it looked like same old Bengals defense, right? But at the same time, you talked to Zach Taylor, and he said, this defense is vanilla as vanilla can get. We are not showing anything, which is a good sign. I kind of like that because I'm like, okay, if this is how our defense is going to be in the season, I don't really like this. But if they're just holding back and just going out and just playing whatever, just to get reps in, I like that. But the key is, will that continue for the rest of the season? I don't know. We'll see. The offensive side of the ball, the best strength of this team, of course, you got quarterback Joe Burrow. He's the franchise player. He's got all the talent in the world last year. He led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns. Would have been a probably MVP candidate if the Bengals would have been halfway decent on that defensive side of the ball. But given their fragility over there, Burrow is under pressure to sustain elite production. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow throws for 500 yards in a game this year because he's going to have to at one point in time. He's done it once before, but he may again. I think it would be a safe bet to say he's probably going to hit over 500 in a game. Wide receivers. We know about the wide receivers. Jamar Chase, he had a wonderful year last year, earning the Triple Crown. among one of the league's best players overall. And he signed an extension in the offseason along with T. Higgins, who also signed a big extension, 4 year, $115 million for him. So you have probably the best wide receiver duo in the league right here, if not just the AFC in Chase and Higgins. And then after that, you've got a little uncertainty. Jermaine Burton, can he show up? Can he be reliable? Who knows? And you got Charlie Jones, Mitchell Tinsley, who looked great in one preseason game. Can he do it against starters in the NFL, not just backups? We'll see. Tight end, you got Mike Gesicki, Drew Sample, Noah Fant, Andrew Hudson, Cam Grandy. Let's just put all the people that are tight ends on the team. Let's have all of them. 5 tight ends made the 53-man roster. What are we doing here? Do we need all these tight ends? Come on. I guess, whatever. I don't know Cam Grandy, but at running back, you got Chase Brown. He established himself as running back number 1 last year. He's a pass catching back, and his versatility made him a crucial asset. So we'll see how he does in his second year. And then they brought in Samaje Perine to come in for third down and pass protections. And then they drafted rookie Taj Brooks, who's a downhill runner with a productive college resume. The offensive line, they just signed Dalton Reisner, a guard out of Minnesota this past week, to kind of take over for the Cordell Volson spot. But this offensive line has not been really good, the past few years since Burrow's been there, really. So it's all going to see, how the offensive line can protect Burrow, keep him upright, keep him healthy. You've got to. But man, this offensive unit is over like $500 million is what they're getting paid between just 3 players, so that's a lot. On the defensive side of the ball, once again, this is where we get into some real question marks. They just signed Trey Hendrickson, or as I said, they really didn't sign him. They just gave him a raise for this season. And, they were 25th in the NFL last year, which was not good. They drafted Shamar Stewart, who finally come in. He finally signed, as, we were kind of on him, kind of down in that pick, and then kind of being like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you acting like you're such a diva already before you even get in here? And then you're getting in there in practice and you're going ahead and you're hitting, Joe Burrow in practice. And it's like, dude, you're not making a very good impression here at all. So maybe once he gets on the field, maybe he will. We'll see. I don't know. And then linebackers, you've got Logan Wilson back there. The secondary is probably the big question mark for the Bengals back there. You got Geno Stone, safety, who had 4 picks last year and a touchdown, 81 tackles. And then after him, you got Jordan Battle, Tyson Anderson, and then they bring on P.J. Jules. I don't know what that secondary right there, that doesn't scare me one bit at all. I don't know. But the Bengals offense is going to carry this team once again. And if the defense is just, they don't have to be the best in the league. You just can't be 25th in the league this year. Get to like 17, and I'll be fine with 17th. Right in the middle of the pack, dead nuts, right in the middle, just about. I'll take it. Over under, you said it's 9.5. I'm going over on this with the Bengals. I like them to get 10, maybe 11, and a wild card berth this year. And they sneak in offensively because the offense leads them, of course. So give me the over on the Bengals.
All right. Well, I think we got to follow that one up with the team that finished second in the division last year at 10-7, my Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensive wise, they ranked literally middle of the pack. 22.4 points scored per game. Yeah, you're at 50% right there. That seems very Steeler-like. Points allowed per game, 20.4. You ranked 8th. You were actually the best defense in the division, which you better be, being the highest paid in the league. Their win total set at 8.5 wins, not 9.5, 8.5. Does BetMGM think Pittsburgh's going to finish under 500 for the first time in the Mike Tomlin era? Because I personally don't think it's going to happen. However, my key question to make this happen is, can Aaron Rodgers return the form? So over it. Last season, they rolled into week 1, Justin Fields as the starter. And then after a couple weeks, Russell Wilson came in and took over once he was finally healthy, ready to go. Now you're without both of them. You're without your top wide receiver last year, George Pickens. You replace it with Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph. You draft Will Howard. Skylar Thompson is your number 3 right now at quarterback. He actually, I thought, did better than Mason Rudolph did in preseason. So I don't know. I'm also not the biggest Mason Rudolph fan, but he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, so I feel like I have to like him. And then wide receiver wise, you go out, you switch George Pickens for DK Metcalf, and then you give Metcalf the biggest contract I've ever seen them give a wide receiver. And then running back wise, you lose Najee to the Chargers and a firework. And then you gain Caleb Johnson in the draft and Kenneth Gainwell in free agency. Defensive wise, added a few guys, just a couple names, rookie Derek Harmon, who hopefully doesn't miss that much time with the injury he sustained. And Yeha, something black, defensive tackle. Brandon Eccles, the defensive back from, I believe he was with the Jets. And then, oh yeah, that's right, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, and you get rid of Minka Fitzpatrick. I'm very excited to see how this defensive group does. In the preseason game last time, it was against the Panthers, and most of the defensive guys did start outside like TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cam Hayward. But on the defensive backside, most of the starters or projected starters did start. Now, like Jalen Ramsey, he drew an unnecessary roughness penalty for 15 yards, but it's preseason. I like the aggressiveness, get it out of you kind of now, so this way you don't make the mistakes during the season. Mentioned, can Aaron Rodgers return to form? I don't know. I hope so. He didn't have that horrible of a season last year. He just played with the Jets. Right there, you could throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, and you probably aren't going to have that good of a record just because it's the Jets, Jets. He is 41 years old. He's definitely slowed down mobility-wise, so hopefully the offensive line can protect him. Let's go to a position to watch. I'm going to go to the running back positions. Kind of mentioned him a little bit. You lose Najee Harris. You have Jaylen Warren as your speed guy. Caleb Johnson, your change of pace, kind of the same role that Najee did. And then Kenneth Gainwell as well in the passing game. I kind of like it. I kind of don't. Caleb Johnson, hopefully he's good. But since Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers have not had great luck with running backs. So I'm really not holding my breath on any. Breakout player, I actually got 2 because I couldn't decide on which one to put. The ones already had a better career than the other, so we'll start with that one. Tight end Pat Freiermuth. Out of Penn State, it feels like he should be having, 700-800 yards every season, 6-7 touchdowns, and 60 catches or whatever. But he just doesn't seem to have it. So what does Pittsburgh do? Well, like I mentioned, they trade Minka Fitzpatrick. They get Jalen Ramsey. Oh, and they also bring in Pro Bowler Jonnu Smith, who was, I don't want to jinx it, but he was my fantasy guy last year. So I'm hoping it's not just a little late and that he's out for the entire season, because apparently he's already banged up. So they got that. And then my other breakout player, wide receiver, I'm hoping he actually plays, Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson drew Mike Tomlin's attention at Senior Bowl practices 2 years ago. Tomlin told him to line up against Quinyon Mitchell to test him. And then Mike Tomlin goes and drafts Wilson in the 3rd round of 2024. However, he basically has not played. He has shined a little bit in preseason, and I kind of could compare him to like Emmanuel Sanders. And if he's able to be an Emmanuel Sanders and give the production, well, then he's going to be the number 2. And with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, Rodgers sent 154 targets to Garrett Wilson and 114 to Devontae Adams in just 11 games last year. So expect a lot of targets, a lot of passing, hopefully, even though this is still an Arthur Smith offense. So are they better than what they were in 2024? Statistically wise, I'm going to say yes. Record wise, I think it's going to be the exact same in a 10-7 finish. Their win total, however, 8.5, suggests a decline from last year's 10-7 finish. But like I said, don't think it's going to happen. Give me the over on the 8.5. And mentioned 10-7. That's why I said I don't know which team finishes 2nd or 3rd, if it's Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. But I think maybe there's a good chance that they both make a wild card spot.
The Steelers, they pulled the trigger on a high-profile quarterback, landing Aaron Rodgers on a 1-year deal worth up to $19.5 million. His arrival represents a major shift at quarterback after the departures of Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Coming off of a shaky 2024 for Aaron Rodgers, in which he played decent. He had better numbers than both quarterbacks Pittsburgh had last year, so it could be an improvement for Pittsburgh back there. However, Rodgers' age, injury history, and a potentially limited fit in a scheme known for conservative play calling could be an issue, and has some doubts. Arthur Smith is entering his second year. Second year is his second year, right? I believe, an offensive coordinator, second or third?
Third year?
Maybe.
Because I think he was with Kenny Pickett, wasn't he?
Might have been.
Arthur Smith coaching history. Sure, we'll go with that. Since 2024, really?
Okay,
Was Matt Canada for all of Kenny Pickett?
Must have been. So he's entering his second season, aiming to blend pro-style concepts with his trademark play-action looks. In 2024, Pittsburgh tallied 5.2 yards per play, ranking 23rd, and produced 317 and 22.4 yards per game. At Freiermuth led the team with 7 touchdowns last season. The Steelers said goodbye to Najee Harris, whose 1,000-yard consistency ended when he signed with the Chargers in 2025 and got into a few fireworks out there and some questionable decisions. Caleb Johnson, a rookie with a bruising downhill style, joining veteran Jalen Warren to form a versatile backfield duo, along with Kenneth Gainwell, who is no longer on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Who would have said that?
I don't know who would have said that, but they would have been crazy if they said that he was an Eagle, because he definitely plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers now and is one of the 3 running backs that you can count on them to be utilizing this season. Expect it to be a balanced approach for the Pittsburgh offense this year. The wide receiver core, they go out and they get DK Metcalf. He is now the clear number 1 wide receiver, given elite size and speed traits. Pairing him with Aaron Rodgers could mean more vertical back shoulder attack looks, but depth remains thin. Trading away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, they've got wide receivers like Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, Robert Woods, Scotty Miller, and they're all battling for wide receiver number 2. That is a list of names right there at wide receiver, and that's all that you can really say about that after DK Metcalf. Like you said, will Roman Wilson step up? He could. Veteran Scotty Miller has earned some praise in camp, and he's secured wide receiver number 4 role. Big stuff. Pat Freiermuth remains a security blanket from the tight end position. He leads a group bolstered by Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington, and Connor Hayward. And Darnell Smith is a large human being. He makes the other guys look like they are middle school tight ends, if you've seen that picture. Wow.
I just got to say, Darnell Smith is my favorite tight end for the Steelers.
Did I say Darnell Smith? Jonnu Smith, Darnell Washington. Yeah. Jonnu's brother, Darnell, he plays on another team. I'm getting that mixed up too. But Darnell Washington, he makes all the other Pittsburgh tight ends look like middle schoolers. So, yeah, so we'll see how Rodgers if he can get back to somewhat of his form as he had the last few years in Green Bay. I don't know. We'll see, because once he went with the Jets, it was kind of a disaster, right? Especially, the first season, and then trying to get back to it after that is kind of just wasn't. On the defensive side of the ball, this is their strength for sure. Like you said, and it better be with the way that the top paid defense, which you start at edge and TJ Watt. They signed him to a 3-year, $123 million extension. They got it done early enough to where he didn't wait till the end of the week, or they weren't trading him away to the Packers or whoever. So, yeah, and then you got Cameron Hayward, who is also up front, interior lineman there. And then you got first-round pick Derek Harmon from Oregon. As you mentioned, Yaya Black. So linebacker, Alex Highsmith, Patrick Queen. And from the draft, you get, did they draft Jack Sawyer?
They did. I forgot about that.
Jack Sawyer. Ohio State runner. If you've not seen the call of Jack Sawyer getting the interception against Michigan with Gus Johnson losing his voice and his mind, stop what you're doing right now, look that up, and then come back and watch the rest of this podcast, because it is gold. And then at safety, in the backfield, no, in the back end of the defense, you trade and you get Jalen Ramsey, you bring in Darius Slay, you've got Joey Porter Jr., who, Gage, I may say something here about Joey Porter Jr., you may agree, you may disagree. I think he's a little overrated. He could not. I don't know how many penalties he had last year against the Bengals offense because he couldn't keep his hands off of every wide receiver he was on. He was kind of like a little bit step behind them. So I think he's just a little overrated. I think that could be a little bit of an issue for him back there at corner.
I 100% agree. And there were a couple guys that Pittsburgh cut from the 53 man at defensive back that should have stayed, my personal opinion. James Pierre and Beanie Bishop both got cut, both got re signed. So I don't know. Maybe one of them comes up and takes the spot of Joey Porter Jr. if he doesn't know how to keep his hands off of Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. But who knows? He may not even be covering them because they may travel with those two.
They may. But Pittsburgh's defense enters 2025 as one of the league's most formidable units: elite pass rush, revamped corners, playmaking, depth at safety, and a defense-first approach under Mike Tomlin. Health and depth will be tested early, especially replacing Derek Harmon temporarily. But their over-under is 8.5. I've got Pittsburgh going over. Mike Tomlin does not have losing seasons, ever, at Pittsburgh, and it's not happening this year. I'm with you, man. I think Pittsburgh gets 9 to 10 wins once again, and I think that we're talking maybe 3 teams from the North get in. 2 teams probably getting in with a wild card. I've got Baltimore winning, and I think Cincinnati gets in, and I think Pittsburgh and Cincinnati is probably fighting maybe for that last spot or sixth spot, but they both, I think, could sneak in with wild cards. So give me the over on that, too. And so far, man, we've hit over on each team in this division, which leads us to the basement and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. The Cleveland Browns finished 3-14 last year. One of those wins might have came against Pittsburgh. Points scored per game offensive-wise, they were 15.2, which was good enough for dead last in the league. Defensive-wise, they allowed 25.6 points per game, which tied for 27th, 0.1 points behind your Cincinnati Bengals. Their BetMGM win line is set at a measly 4.5. Their BetMGM win line is set at a measly 4.5 wins. And, I think one of the things you have to talk about is the 17 quarterbacks that they have or have had some point in this offseason. My key question, I kind of made fun of them. How early is this team drafting in 2026 when the draft comes to Pittsburgh? Now, they got a bunch of quarterbacks in there. Joe Flacco is the starter. Then you also got Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, Bailey Zappi, who they signed to the practice squad, Deshaun Watson, he's there, but just can never play. They got rid of Kenny Pickett as well. So, what other quarterbacks? They also had Snoop Huntley at one point. They got rid of Jameis Winston. Yeah, it feels like the quarterback carousel, instead of over a couple seasons, all happened in one off season. Position to watch, I'm going to go to the tight end position. Head coach Kevin Stefanski calling plays yet again. Their offense is expected to revert to what worked: a 2 tight end set with a wide zone run game. That should position contract year tight end David Njoku as the number 2 option in the passing game, where he might easily surpass 100 targets this season, as long as he can stay healthy and not burn any part of his face or anything like that. My breakout player, we're going to go to the wide receiver. I like the offense in the AFC North. It really doesn't feel like there's much defense, so let's keep the trend. Wide receiver Cedric Tillman. After Amari Cooper is out, Tillman dominated in the full-time X receiver role. He averaged 10 targets, 8 receptions, and 75 yards across 4 games before his season ended early due to concussion. In the 2023 third-round pick, he is an ideal pick, especially for you people who do fantasy deep drafts. Try, pick him up in the later round. And his only notable competition for the wide receiver 2 got cut. That was Deontay Johnson. And that guy's on his 5th team in 2 seasons or something like that. So he's way out. Tillman slides right in to the number 2. Couple other guys, they went in the draft. Like I mentioned, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders. They also got Dylan Sampson, who I'm interested in. I know the hype is kind of around Quinshawn Junkins, but he fits perfectly in Cleveland. He's a troublemaker. So he might get most of the touches. They also got Jerome Ford back there. So I'll be interested. Is it going to be a running back by committee? Is there an actual number 1 starter or what? So are they better than what they were in 2024? Yes, but you almost have to be compared to that 3-14 record. The Browns, I mentioned 4.5 wins. Man, I so badly want to take the under, and I think I'm going to. Just because we gotta make fun of somebody. So give me the under on the 4.5 wins, and once again, they finish in the basement.
So I've always said that if you have 9 quarterbacks, you really don't have any quarterbacks. Always said that. I've said that from day one, you know. But the Browns, they enter 2025 in full reset mode. After a 3-14 season, their offensive metrics last year were abysmal. Dead last or nearly dead last in every meaningful offensive category. So we'll start out at that quarterback position, and we've got 40-year-old Joe Flacco, former Super Bowl winner, enters the season as the starter. Yeah, his veteran presence, whatever, yada yada yada. They traded away Kenny Pickett earlier in the week. That should have been the lead story here. I don't know if there was any other thing going on this week. That should have been number one right there. Kenny Pickett goes to the Raiders for a 5th or 6th round, doesn't even matter pick. And then also you've got Dylan Gabriel, who I think is the backup. Shadur Sanders is QB number 3. We'll see if any of those guys get any playing time this season. All signs point to yes, they probably all will get some playing time. All eyes will be on new offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. He's been praised for his football IQ and his background at Notre Dame and Alabama. So we'll see how he can see if he can turn this offense around. The running game. Nick Chubb is gone. The Browns face serious uncertainty in the running game. The O-line remains a core, anchored by veterans Joel Bitonio, Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller, and Ethan Pochich. Jerome Ford is expected to lead these running backs, but that could not last all season long. You got Quinshawn Judkins, as you mentioned, the rookie out of Ohio State. He still is yet to sign. So there's that uncertainty. And then also Dylan Sampson, who was a really good running back at Tennessee. He may end up starting here for too long. I think he's going to be a better back than Jerome Ford is when it's all said and done. The team also added Raheem Rocket Sanders as well. The wide receivers, or actually tight end. At tight end, you've got David Njoku, and then you've got tight end Harold Fannin Jr., who is from Bowling Green, rookie, who had a very good season last year at Bowling Green as a pass catching tight end. At receiver, they bring in Isaiah Bond, an undrafted deep threat. Also, they have Jerry Judge Judy out there for wide receiver, and Cedric Tillman, as you mentioned. The defensive side of the ball. You've got a player that at the time he signed one of the bigger deals in the offseason, but that has been rewritten this past week. So that's, no thing. Myles Garrett, he signs a big deal in the offseason. He leads this defense on the other side, which Gage, I believe he said he wanted to go win a Super Bowl somewhere, right?
Yeah, he did say that, and then he said it wasn't about the money, and then turns
signs
out
a 4-year, $160 million contract.
Yeah, I think it was about the money.
Yeah, seems like it might have been about the money. I don't know. Then they've got Malik Collins. They signed him during free agency. He adds inside rush, bulk, and playmaking potential to fill the void left by Dalvin Tomlinson. Rookie Mason Graham brings some athleticism and disruption to further energize the front. They re-signed Devin Bush at linebacker. You're familiar with that guy.
Unfortunately, such a good player in his rookie year, and then got hurt, and then was never the same. So yeah, it makes sense for him to go to Cleveland.
And then in the secondary, they've got Denzel Ward, the veteran cornerback. He had 19 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. He's one of the better cornerbacks in the league, probably one of the better players on this Cleveland Browns roster. He's always seems to play the Bengals pretty good and always like, oh man, we got to face Denzel Ward again. Always consistent with him. But then you've got Martin Emerson Jr. back there at 82 tackles last season, but he suffered a season-ending Achilles injury. So that's a significant blow to that end back there. The Cleveland Browns, over-under is 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say it. I'm going to say that the Cleveland Browns hit the under on this one here as well. There you go under. Maybe they improve from last season and get to 4 wins. That elusive 4th win is going to get, it's not going to be in week 1. They're not getting one of the wins in week 1. It's not happening, but they will get 4 wins this season. Give me the Cleveland Browns to go under on their win total. I said they're getting 4 wins. They may not get 4 wins. They may get 3, but they're definitely going under 4.5. Give me the under on that for the Cleveland Browns.
I am currently looking at the official clevelandbrowns.com/team/depth chart. But just, take a look around. Quarterback, Joe Flacco. We know he's a starter. Second string, they have no one listed. Third string, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, Deshaun Watson. So there's no actual backup. You just go right to the third string. But then look at wide receivers, kind of the same. Jerry Jeudy at number 1, Cedric Tillman at number 2, fill in the blank at number 3, fill in the blank at number 4. And then number 5, some guy named Gage Larvadane. And number 6, David Bell.
I've heard of David Bell. I've never heard of Gage Larvadane in my whole entire life.
Well, that's because he played 2 years in college. 2023, he spent his time at Miami of Ohio, and 2024, South Carolina. In the 2 years, he finished 23 games, 61 catches, 902 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So that would make sense of why you did that. But I think that shows just how bad David Bell is if that guy can get a spot above you. Now, my reason... Yeah,
Let me say before you go real quick, let me say that David Bell could not manage the Cincinnati Reds, so I would put him at last on the depth chart for the Cleveland Browns as well. I understand that totally.
Bringing that up, you mentioned Isaiah Bond. He is nowhere listed on the depth chart. So I'm wondering, he made the team. What's happening?
I don't know.
I think he moves so fast that they just forgot to put him on.
He is a definite deep threat, deep out of the stadium threat right now for this Cleveland Browns team. I don't think the Bengals will have to scout that. It doesn't sound like.
No, he might be the Jermaine Burton, though, of Cleveland.
He could be. Very well could be. Speedster, can't get it all together, doesn't know the playbook, can't get there on time. Yeah, he could be the Jermaine Burton. I don't know if Isaiah Bond may not be that way. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah.
So that is our 4 teams for the preview of the AFC North. Gage, who do we have as our MVP for this division this year?
I mean, I think it's got to be simple. Unless, it actually is questionable, it doesn't play, I'm going to go Lamar Jackson.
For my MVP, this may sound a little homerish, and it's going to be a little homerish. I'm going Joe Burrow. If this defense is even halfway decent, like I said, if they could be middle of the pack, I've got Joe Burrow putting up MVP-like numbers again. And if they get to 10 wins, he could get the. If they make the playoffs, he puts up numbers like last year, he's win the MVP. But I got him MVP of this division. But I could see Lamar. And who do we have for rookie of the division?
I knew you were gonna ask that, and I don't know what rookies are starters that would actually make a big deal.
I was gonna go Isaiah Bond, but I guess that would be a horrible pick right now.
All right. So rookie of the division, you went a little homerish for MVP. Let me go a little homerish for rookie of the division. Give me Caleb Johnson. I believe that he will, take most of the carries in Pittsburgh and have that Najee Harris type role, hit over 1,000 yards or a few touchdowns. I think that's good enough for a rookie of the year.
So I'm going to go running back as well. I thought I was going to go running back. I really wanted to take Quinshon Judkins as the rookie of the year, but where he's not signed, who knows there. But you mentioned Dylan Sampson coming up from Tennessee. I could go in that direction, but how about we go a little off the board here, and how about we go tight end Harold Fannin Jr. from Cleveland? He comes in, and he has a monster season, and he is the rookie of the year for the Cleveland Browns in this division.
Oh, you didn't want to take, Shamar Stewart for defensive rookie or just rookie in general?
Once again, I said I'll take Harold Fannin Jr. as rookie of this division. I already went homerish on one pick. I wasn't going. Oh, what Shamar? Who? What? Come on.
I can't believe how close we are. It is almost here.
It is almost here. Next week, next Thursday night, we get Philly. We get Dallas. Micah Parsons isn't there. We get Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, no Micah Parsons. We'll get Jerry Jones.
Yeah, we get Jerry Jones, and we get Nick Sirianni.
Yes.
Howie Roseman. Yeah.
Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, Brian Schottenheimer. Should be great. Who else would you want out there in the first game of the season to play the defending Super Bowl champions? Like, wouldn't want the Commanders, right? Why would you want the Commanders? You want the Cowboys. They're in the news right now. Have them play Philly. Have Philly cream them the first game of the season, and then we move on.
Well, you really couldn't have the Commanders since they traded away Brian Robinson, and that would have just made it a horrible game.
Absolutely, because once they lost him, what else do they really have on that team?
I wish I could tell you. I really can't because it's really nothing.
Yeah, it's really nothing after that. They signed like Terry McLaurin or whatever, but I mean, who's that guy?
And they have a second-year quarterback who was, top 5, 7 quarterback in the league last year.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you wouldn't want that on there. Then Debo Samuel's on the team now for some reason. I mean, you really wouldn't want that on prime time first game of the season when you can get the Cowboys,
Yeah, America's team.
America's team.
America's team on America's shipping website video Prime.
Yeah, and then next Friday night we got another game. The Kansas City Chiefs play. Who does Kansas City play? It's on YouTube. It'll be right here on YouTube.
I believe it's the
Second
Bowl. Is it the
It's
Chargers?
in Brazil. I know that.
It is the LA Chargers.
Which, I mean, who else would you rather have? I mean, that actually is going to be a pretty good game, I think. Both those teams are pretty good. I can't really dog that game, but it is in Brazil.
Yeah. A Brazil game, 8 p.m. here. What time is that there?
It's probably close to the same, I would say. Maybe 7, 6.
Okay, it'd be at 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Yeah, so they're just south of us, so it's not like Germany or something like that. So,
although I guess looking at it, it depends on what part of Brazil, because some of them have really weird times.
It's kind of like Kentucky. We've got Eastern and Central time zone over here, so
I don't know how y'all do it.
I just do Eastern. I don't know anything about on the western side of Kentucky. They're central. Like, keep your central time zone over there. You're not throwing me off over here with that stuff.
You have never visited that part of Kentucky.
It is just about here, though. We're ready. Next week, we will come on here and we will make our picks. Our pick'ems are back, man. Finally, we will be able to pick football. And then the week after that, we can talk about games that have happened. We're here, Gage. We're almost here.
We are just about there. And in the meantime, there will be a jingle for who's hurt on the fantasy team. Just saying. Don't know how I'm going to make it, but it'll be made because I'm not a musician or talented in audio editing. So this should be very fun.
Yeah, stay tuned for that segment every week. But if you will, like this video, subscribe to this video. If you don't want to watch us on YouTube, we're out there on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on iHeart. We're on Amazon. We're on Audible. We're on everywhere where you get your podcasts. Check us out. Yelling from the couch. We'll be here next week, and we'll be here for our pick'ems. Gage, I'll see you next week.
Later.